I had a couple Fursonas myself, mostly warrior cats OCs, okay. Honestly, if I had to be trapped in any sort of meat bag, I want my meat bag to be very cool and have cat ears and a cat tail. No, it's gonna get into like sea bass territory. And I also love fall. But like, who doesn't? I live in Texas. I don't know why. I know I'm a clown, but I'm not that clownish. Oh no, they're gonna put Monster Truck Supreme, weren't they? Hello everyone, long time no see. When I thought I was uploading that TFF vlog, I didn't realize how many people would see it, and then I promptly left on vacation. I'm just really happy that y'all enjoyed the videos, as well as seeing the amazing fursuiters that are in this video talking to me. It means the world to me to have everyone come see the video and comment on what they like the most and some of the most creative minds and people out there, so that really brought me a lot of joy. So now I have come to the conclusion that I must create my own Fursona. Now this won't be my first Fursona. Way back when, in the DeviantArt eras, I had a couple Fursonas myself, mostly warrior cats OCs, okay. So I know what this entire gig is about, but I wanted to create one that sort of matched who I am now as a fully grown person adult. Let's first start by getting into what is a Fursona. So plainly speaking, a Fursona is a portmanteau of the word furry and person or persona. And so you smash them together and you get Fursona. So it's basically a furry or animal or anthro, bird, scaly, dragon, long list of species ahead as your person or persona. Honestly, if I had to be trapped in any sort of meat bag, I want my meat bag to be very cool and have cat ears and a cat tail. But that's not to say all Fursonas are a one-to-one sort of recreation of the person that they are portraying. Sometimes they can be an OC or original character of the creator. And I've also seen that Fursonas can sort of act as alter egos or alternate personalities for a creator. For me, the Fursona that I want to create is sort of a picturesque version of me. This is the version that I want to be and the version that I like, including all of the things that I like. Although during my research, I did come up with a couple of OC ideas for like Fursonas, but I don't have the time nor money to enact those. So without further ado, let's get into the ideation of my Fursona. Now, why do I want a Fursona and fursuit? Well, that's an easy question to answer. I really liked going to TFF and I really want to go again next year, so I feel like the ultimate step forward for attending your first FurryCon is to go to the next FurryCon in a partial fursuit. So yes, I'll be making a partial fursuit for my Fursona, and I'll be documenting every single part here on YouTube. So if that's something you're interested in, you gotta do the YouTuber things and subscribe and hit that like button and the bell notification. And I think that's it. I don't think they've added anything else. And this is not me saying that every Fursona needs to become a fursuit, because that's not something that everyone can or wants to do. It is just something that I want to do for this design and this video and myself. So I also looked into what makes a fursuit. I know that there are full fursuits, which is what everyone thinks about when they think about a furry. It's the head, it's the paws, it's the body, it's the feet, it's the tail, or no tail. And that seems a little bit out of reach for me right now. I am a cosplayer and sewist by trade, but working with faux fur is kind of the devil. You'll see with my design how, fun that's going to be. So instead, I decided I'll be making a partial fursuit, which means I'll be making a head, the paws, and the tail. And so I wanted to ease myself into fursuiting with just doing these parts. So as I mentioned before, I've been a cosplayer for about 5 years, and with that I have developed an odd set of skills, which is great because getting into fursuiting seems like such a big daunting task, but I feel like I have a solid foundation. I know a couple of cosplayers that are also furries and furries that are cosplayers, so I feel like the skill set can pass between each other pretty easily, but I guess we'll see when I start making it. And another thing to consider is how I want my fursuit to look. So that can be a variety of different things. There's realistic, there's cartoony, and there's like sort of a middle ground between the two. There's a whole bunch of different art styles inside of fursuiting itself. For my own skills and expertise, I don't think I can quite do a realistic fursuit like from the Beast Cub, But I think I would like something sort of in the middle of cartoony and realistic, you know, right in the middle. But learning how to make my own fursuit is gonna be a part of another video, and I don't wanna deep dive into that right now. Now that I know what I want, let's get into actually designing my fursona. So let's talk species. Luckily, I had the amazing people of last video help assign me my government assigned fursona. If you saw in the last video, I got a couple of species to work with, but the top two were cat and bunny. This made me think so much because I love bunny fursuiters. They look so cute, either with the lop ears or like the stand-up ears. I've cosplayed Haru in the past, and I've just loved being the little bunny ears, my favorite. But also, I love cats, like a lot. I grew up my entire life with cats. I've always had at least 1 or 2 cats in my household growing up, so I've always, you know, connected very closely with cats. Also, warrior cat's kid. That's not surprising to anyone. But also, I have a cat of my own, Miss Peanut Butter, in all of her glory. But with the two species so close, I feel like I had to stick to something that was truly me. And of course, that had to be cats. But there's one more thing. I also really like moths. If you have seen me across the internet, and if you know what I work on, I also work on a lot of moth-based items and activities. My cloak company, Enchanted Moth Hollow, duh, in the name, has a collection of moth wings that I made. And I've also started off with making moth wings for myself and my friends. And I even have a moth tattoo on my leg, So it felt weird to only choose from the cat species when moths mean so much to me. So why not just do the furry thing and sort of mash them together? And so I think my species will be the cat-moth hybrid. Kamoth? Cat moth. Sea moth? No, it's gonna get into like sea bass territory. Yeah, someone smarter than me has probably come up with a portmanteau of that. As some of you may know, I sort of suck at doing that, so. We can now get into the inspiration and sort of vibes and looks that I want for my fursona. And of course, I had to go with a calico. And of course, I decided to go with calico because I have my own calico, Peanut Butter, and you know, look at her. Leaning into those foresty inspirations, I'm also a big nature lover, mostly forests and mountains, of course. And I also love fall. But like, who doesn't? I live in Texas. I hate it. I hate summer. It's like 400 degrees outside. It's awful. So my mood board for this fursona was the damp forest, the autumn forest, moss, of course, just all of these floating around and sort of smash them into a character. And here is my color palette. My color palette is also very reminiscent of an autumnal forest and of the emperor moth. So of course I had to add those browns and creams and reds and greens in here. You'll see soon what all these colors directly lead to here in a bit. So one of the reasons why this video has taken so long to get out is I kept getting it stuck in my head that I need to design my fursona head to toe, and it needs to be unique and amazing and just show-stopping. However, over the process of designing my own fursona, I have come to realize that simple is perfectly fine. Simple is really nice, actually. So one of the first things I started off with designing my fursona is I tried drawing it myself, and I just was not happy with any of my proportions or how it was coming out. Here's a quick headshot of my first iteration of my fursona. And it was okay, it just didn't spark any happiness or joy or creativity inside of me. So one of the things that really helped out was finding a free-to-use base. This took me back to my DeviantArt days of getting into art and just sort of coloring in bases, and just, it brought out that like fun whimsy of just focus on the design. You don't have to worry about anything else. So going forward, I'll be using this base from Biscuits and Tea, and if you want to make your own fursona using this base, they also have different species as well, and they're so nice. And make sure you check out the description for the link to their DeviantArt. Also, when I started off, I was really focused on what my fursona would be wearing. For some reason. I have seen such wonderful art online that I just wanted my fursona to be like this really cute cat in this beautiful cottagecore dress, similar to these artists right here. But I cannot draw clothes at all. So I just kept getting hung up that I couldn't draw a dress right, and that really wasn't important when designing a fursona. Also, with the start of my fursona design, I'm really into gestures right now. I don't know why. I know I'm a clown, but I'm not that clownish. So I decided to stick with something a lot more neutral, something I could change in the future in case my personality or style ever changes as well. Now that I have this beautiful base acquired, I started with laying down all of my colors. Color palettes to me are super important because they help make the entire piece look more cohesive. So I started off with the face, and there I noticed that a lot of calico patterns have that sort of split face, you know, black and orange on one side, and that's something that I wanted to do with my design. But I realized as I was trying to add in more details and spots and everything all around the face, how this would translate into a fursuit. There are some really beautiful, complex fursuits out there and fursuiters that can do and make that. I am not one of those. That's not me. So for my design, I decided to stick with pretty plain and simple, where it's not directly split, there's a little bit of a curve, but at least it's not a bunch of random dots everywhere. From there, I moved down the body, and as you can see right here, the two colors swap sides. And they do that once more again on the lower half of the body. And I just wanted to do that to add some more visual interest to the design, but don't ask me what's happening in the back. I don't know what's happening in the back. No one needs to know what's happening in the back. And of course, I added a little heart to the middle because I had to, you know? I had to. And for the paw pads, I also decided to go with, you know, different colors for each one because I love spending money on fabric. But here is my completed fursona. But we seem to be missing something. What about the moth wings? So for the moth wings, I decided to use my own sort of rendition of the emperor moth. And that is something that I've used both personally with creating my own giant pair of moth wings, or in my business when I created my logo for Enchanted Moth Hollow. It was just pretty simple with just the top wing. I didn't want to mess with doing the bottom wings and the whole tail business, so just the two top wings, and adding the little brown details like the extra bits and the lines, you know, scientific terms, as well as adding the eye spots for the moth. The eye spots were really fun to do because they're supposed to, you know, like mimic eyes to ward off predators, which I hope I never have to do at a con. So I decided to make them match my fursona's eyes, which is that nice dark forest green with that pop of very bright yellow. But one of the most important things about this design is it's based off my cat, Peanut Butter. And one of Peanut Butter's defining characteristics is that she only has one eye. So in order to reflect this in the design, I decided to add a little X where Peanut is missing an eye on my moth wing. And that's pretty much it for the fursona. I definitely thought I was going to do a lot more, like have mushrooms grow out of everywhere or wear a very poofy Victorian cottagecore dress. But then I realized it was sort of taking away from the main purpose, which was the fursona rather than the outfits. So I decided to keep it simple and just do the base body and add the wings, and we have, ta-da! We have my beautiful fursona, who does not have a name. So instead, just as I've done in the other video, where I've asked people to give me my government-assigned fursona, I am going to have you guys give this fursona a name. So leave your suggestions in the comments below, and maybe a week after this video, I'll compile the topmost ones that I've seen into a YouTube poll and send it out. And whoever wins that poll is now my new fursona's name. So please, no one put Monster Truck Supreme. Oh no, they're gonna put Monster Truck Supreme, weren't they? Oh God, oh no. Well, I hope someone that like stumbles upon this video is just like looking through the comments and it's just all Monster Truck Supreme. Very confusing. Would love that a lot. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed my rambles and processes through creating my own fursona. And the next video part, conclusion, continuation of this series, I will be starting with her hand paws. I can't wait to make my own hand paws. I've seen a lot of tutorials online, and I've also saved a lot of patterns that I can't wait to use, as well as I can't wait to order some fur now that I know the colors. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to start. I don't know when I'll start, but I can't wait to start. So thank you all so much for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you really enjoyed this video and you want to see more of my Fursona creations or cosplay or my cloak business, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day and stay furry.